Hello, everybody, and welcome to Journey on the PlayStation 4.
Oh, can we play Brothers of Tale 2 songs?
Don't worry,
Seven or Near Replicant?
Don't worry, Tail. Don't worry, Tail. We will eventually.
Or Ghost of Tsushima.
But yeah,
that we're definitely playing that eventually. Not even if I have to bug Tail and Joe for the rest of my life. Don't worry.
This has been.
All right, so this game was developed.
Fans of ours will remember this game.
Yes, we decided to redo this because our old commentary was, let's just say, didn't age the best.
Pedro doesn't sound like he's stuck in a diving suit for a
yeah, that helps. Okay, so yeah, this game was developed by that game company with Sony Santa Monica supervising and Sony publishing and funding the project in general. Yeah, so here's the premise of Journey. Since Dej is joining us, he's not familiar with the game, unlike us, so let me explain to you, Dej. Here's the premise of Journey.
I saw some Call Me John's review of it. I do know what it's about. I just don't know the plot. I just know it's like you're just going around and exploring.
Yeah, the basic premise is you're a pilgrim. You see a big mountain with a light coming from it, and you just go toward to see what it is, and that's basically it.
And this was around the time Santa Monica was kind of experimenting with the stuff.
Look, a shooting star.
In the they had distinguished themselves for doing mostly the God of War games, but. During the PS3 era, they were, all over the place in supporting stuff like Starhawk, the Twisted Metal reboot, PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, and so on.
Pretty much.
So you start the game in a desert.
Mm-hmm. Lord Lives is the light, since he's not here. But yeah, the camera can be controlled also with the 6-axis.
However, if you don't like it, you can go to the options and switch it to the analog stick.
Oh, so the PS4 does have a 6-axis?
Yes. All of the DualShocks starting with 3 have it. With the
PS5, it's called motion sensor.
Well, the PS5 is all about that.
I can finally play Flower, since it's also made by that game company.
Yes, if you're gonna play Flower, play the PS4 remastered by Bluepoint, because it's the best way to play the game.
It's on PS4. Okay.
Yes, well, is Flow on the PS4 too? I don't know if they put Flow on the PS4.
Let
me check. I'm on Wikipedia.
I know Flower.
Yes, it is.
Okay, there you go then. All right, and there you go.
You don't know why you have to go there, but it's pretty much clear that that's your destination. Also, yes, we have a title.
I know that they released a game called Sky Children of Light.
Props also to the composer, Austin Wintory, because the soundtrack of this game is quite something else.
The soundtrack actually won a Grammy.
I think the game itself also won the Game of the Year award in 2012.
Yes.
I can check right now.
So, believe it or not, there is the capability of co-op in this game.
There is. However, it's random. Basically, if you play online, the game will automatically look for any players who happen to be playing at the same time as you and just randomly pair you with that person. You don't know who that person is. It doesn't tell you who the user is. The only way you have to communicating is by using a basic little cry move that you have.
Circle button.
Only at the end, if you and your partner manage to get to the end of the game together, only then will you know each other's names, and then you can add yourselves as friends on PSN.
Mm-hmm.
You literally have to get to know each other before you're
correct. Journey won 8 awards at the DICE Awards, back when they were called an Entertainment Achievement Award.
Let me explain this mechanic. Every time you touch a scarf in this game, your own personal scarf gets powered up, and which allows you to fly for a bit, depending on how big your scarf is. There are various power-ups over the course of the game to increase the size of your scarf.
A lot of them are actually optional, so it only depends. It's not really vital to finish the game. The game is extremely friendly, because it tries to, build up more the experience rather than giving you actually a challenge. Though it will have 1 or 2 moments, that that can be considered that. But yeah, recently the game has also been released on PC on the Epic Game Store, but also mobile, actually. And for those versions, it's actually published by Annapurna. So actually, I don't know who actually owns the property technically now. If it's just that game company or still Sony.
It's that game company. It's a second-party game too. Basically, when it comes to consoles, consoles specifically, it's only the PS3 and PS4 that have the game still. So basically, console exclusive. But I'm doing the PlayStation 4 remaster because, 60 frames per second, baby.
With all the cool sound particles.
Are you playing this on your PS5 though?
No, on my PS4. I was gonna use my PS5, but my PS4 was closer. So
okay, fair enough.
I was gonna do this, but
too much effort. Well, it's fair enough. I tested the game myself. It was actually given last year, thanks to the Play at Home initiative. And it practically is smooth. I didn't encounter any drops, so you might as well just keep it on your PS4.
This is a very simple game, not a real demanding game. It's not that surprising.
Okay, that is true, but like I said, there's a lot of particles involved with the sand movement. That kind of stuff usually manages to potentially fuck up, especially if you're using a particular engine. This one uses the fire engine, which is usually mostly, if I recall correctly, for either JRPGs. Compile Art uses these for them tuning games, for example.
The basic idea of Journey is that everything you encounter in your journey, this is entirely interpretive. You need to just experience the game yourself and just take the conclusions that you think from the game's imagery and from what the cutscene. You will be given some
kind of lore, but like Pedro mentioned, it is up to your discretion how you interpret that.
I just remember that when the game first came out, I had friends in high school that would swore by this game. So,
like who you are, where you are, what happened, all that stuff is up to you.
I know that this game also inspired a lot of games as well. I tried to copy it.
This game was very influential in the indie scene, basically.
Yeah, I should specify.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, Jova. Back in 2012, when this game first released, it was a big deal. Like the press was all over it.
Trust Pedro. I have a good idea, Michael. When we first commented on this game, it was literally 2 years after its release. My God, we've been doing this for quite some time.
I also played the game that. I don't think that game company did it, but it was kind of like a spiritual success for this. Some people were involved, I think, on this, which is called Abzu, which was also given actually this year with the Play Home initiative, and it has basically a lot of similarities with this game. And there you go. That's the first major level done.
Indeed. All right. So yeah, like I said, it's entrepreneurs. Just when you finish the game and you look back on everything that happened, the core theme of the game becomes pretty apparent, I will argue. While a lot of the minor details are interpretive, the core general theme of the game will become quite apparent when you finish it.
But yeah, like I said, when we first commented on this game, it was technically back in 2014. Literally our first year of commentating. In fact, this was so early that this was back when Shiroi and Pedro were but guests on the show.
And I actually wasn't for that one for some particular reason. I forgot what specifically was.
Basically, we had a look at this game overall. It was a very nice look, I'll admit.
If you go basically, I don't know if you've seen the original commentary. You probably have.
Actually, not in its entirety. It's been actually a while.
It was actually pretty fun to hear Shiroi and Jova's original reactions, especially when we get to the sliding down the slide with the sunset. You know the part.
That's actually my favorite Sad piece.
Back when we were all using Skype.
But no,
not just that, Dej. We had not as good tech as we have now. I remember using a more chintzy headset, and instead of using something like OBS or, one of the more fancy Skype recorders or, heck, anything else, we use something called SVR.
It's,
what was it? SVR is a cost-efficient recorder. Here's the catch, though. It picked up everything, and by that, I mean, in addition to our voices and stuff from Skype, it would pick up on the YouTube video sounds, which made editing the footage together so much fun. Couldn't afford to have it be a second off, otherwise the music would sound off in time with the actual video footage when editing stuff together.
Hey, this is why I just decided to say screw that and use Audacity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, thankfully, stuff like OBS, as long as you tinker with it right, like I did, can basically record sounds separately from, your browser and other stuff.
Anyway.
But yeah, needless to say, though, of course we've come quite a ways 7 years later.
Indeed. So basically, in this level, you have to try your best to
reconstruct the bridge.
And by doing that, you use your circle move to make all the big scarps disappear. That way, they'll all go into the bridge and form it. Basically.
Apparently, this civilization used cloth for everything.
Almost like the cloth is their life.
Basically, too, what happened was like Joel was all going, "Oh my god," and so oh my, and then she was and she was a specific quote and that I will now provide. Oh my god, and stuff like that.
You sound like such a proud parent.
No, it's always fun to hear you guys be blown away by a game that I knew was going to do that to you. So.
Oh, I know. Hence my point. You sound like such a proud parent reminiscing his time with his kids.
Well, that's the
He's not that much older than us. Remember
come on, Joe.
I do. I don't know.
I'm sure he still had hair back then, though.
I don't know, Shiroi. The whole. It's not how old you are. It's how old you feel. Because I feel older than. Because I feel a lot older than I actually am. To be honest with you.
Good times.
The world in general nowadays, Shiroi, makes me feel very, very old. Very.
Must feel like eternally 17.
I'll
just say this. I can't believe that I was alive long enough to remember a time when the cell phone was literally a brick instead of basically the handheld computer that it is nowadays.
Fuck that noise. I was alive. I was born early enough to actually use a rotary phone. Have you
Oh wow! Complete with the dial and everything.
Yeah, one of my grandmothers who lived in a very old house back in the day had a rotary phone. It was a very old building, even. So,
yeah, I kind of had that in my old house. I mean, not my old house. I mean, the house. Never knew how it works.
So yeah, there you go. That light power up. There you go. These light pickups. These are the ones that actually increase the size of your scarf.
Mm-hmm. It can get actually very long if you actually look to all of them. There is a
sort of a gamer's challenge to see how long.
Yeah, and there's also, of course, a trophy attached to that. The game doesn't have a platinum, but it has a decent size of trophies that ask you actually to do particular challenges that are strictly more video gaming related. Again, this is not actually like aside from a couple of minor things like minor puzzle elements and these platforming things, this is not essentially a game that you played for the challenge at all.
It's an experience.
It's slightly for the experience, and arguably not even like something like that Fumito Ueda and Kenji Kaido did. Sorry, The Last Guardian. The Last Guardian still actually has technically much more engaging and challenging gameplay despite, its premise compared to this. This was, technically speaking, a budgeted title, that wanted to, aside from showcasing the capabilities of a PS3, because again, sand particles and everything, need to showcase how the cosplay was capable of doing, despite being released near its end, actually. Also, fun trivia, this was supposed to actually receive, at least be a part of a stage in PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. It was supposed to be a Gravity Rush stage that would have become a Van Journey. But it was the batch. It was the last batch, but it was actually discarded when Santa Monica actually took over entirely.
I wonder, would that have implied that what we're in right now is the remnants of the city from Gravity Rush?
Not really. Gravity Rush was done after this, after all.
Well, Tia, like you said, though, the Gravity Rush stage would become the Journey stage in transition.
Jova, by that logic, the Metal Gear Solid stage is actually in continuity as Parappa the Rapper.
Actually, Loco Dej, because the robot that shows up in the Parappa the Rapper stage is from Killzone. But no, you have to remember, Jova, the pairing up of the stages in PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale was done mostly as a juxtaposition to see how clashing the two IPs would turn out to be. There were some potential Easter eggs, like say
by a Hydra.
The infamous stage, gets entangled with Sly, because Sucker Punch, for example. Or Resistance with Ratchet and Clank, but others were really clashing, like Dej said, or say the Hades from God of War against the Patapons.
In the meantime, we finished level 2.
And now, more sand, but on a different color.
This looks beautiful.
It does.
Again, the art direction is there on a purpose to make the experience complete on a level.
We're getting closer to the mountain, but it's still a ways.
Pretty far.
Oh look, and there's a shooting star coming from inside the mountain. Apparently,
I wonder what that is.
I wonder what that is.
I wonder too. Don't you, Shiroi?
Yeah. Maybe.
It does remind me of stuff like a thing that I mentioned in our Dark Souls current run is that every time another player online, if you're actually online, another player online gets to ring one of the bells that are in the game, you're like in the same level, you actually get to hear it. So that's a nice Easter egg. It's a flying cloth squid.
We made ourselves a friend.
Yes, a friend.
We don't name it. Sorry, no names.
We're not supposed to name it here. Once you name it, you start getting attached to it.
Name it right.
Beautiful. So Pedro, what exactly is the extent to which players have to work together in co-op mode?
Not that much. Basically, both of you get to cooperate. That way you can even get through obstacles faster because you can just, split shores, so that the one player doesn't have to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like one of those typical invisible tethers that you get in co-op?
Invisible what? Sorry?
Invisible tethers, like essentially, you can't go too far apart from each other until.
Actually, no. You can actually get separated if one player goes too far from the other.
Yeah, you can get separated, basically.
The game is built to be technically single player. The entire idea, of the journey, Jovan, is the fact that the player travels at their own pace, but the people that they met over, the actual journey, can potentially stick around if they actually can keep along, but you can actually miss them. It's literally like a pilgrimage, What's important is the fact that you need to go up on that fucking mountain.
What I just demonstrated there is that whenever you're near one of these things, you can call them with the circle buttons to ask them to give you a ride, basically.
It's also important to mention how specifically the mechanic works. If you play, also there are these. Another type of kind of collectible are these kind of murals. If you actually manage to light them up, they reveal an extra piece of lore.
So
let's have a look.
With the co-op, everyone goes at their own separate journey.
Pretty much,
you
actually.
Go through different paths of life. This is symbolic.
The game basically pairs you up at random, and you're technically journeying on the same world, so you can actually help each other. However, yes, you're not dependent on each other.
Did you find anybody while recording this?
No, I'm playing offline. That's the thing, Shira. The game at this point it's a bit hard to find anybody because the game is already old. So
I tested the game recently and actually did manage to find people. Again, I guess it did help when the game actually got released for free on the PS4 last year.
Yeah,
so a lot of people, thanks to the pandemic, actually took it.
If I may, I can see why this game would have inspired a lot of people to try and rip off, take inspiration. Because, okay, overall, this is a game that does quite a lot while doing very little.
Yep.
In the sense, you technically aren't doing much, and there's really not much a set piece in this game, but it does so much of it. So, of course, to a lot of people, that seems like a holy cow, wow, cha-ching opportunity. Make a deep, thought-provoking story without having to do much work. Which, again, is probably where a lot of the problems come into.
Sounds like a college paper.
From what I recall, a lot of knockoffs of this were essentially games that suggested that they were being deep by essentially being like a real-life simulator or just watching this time pass by and that automatically being a game and whatnot.
The problem is that a lot of the problem is that again, Journey tried this and it was really successful at it. The problem is that a lot of developers tried to do the same thing, and a lot, some of them. I'm not saying they aren't those who succeeded. Of course, some of them did. The problem is that a lot of them just basically didn't actually have anything meaningful to say with their games, so they just made the game intentionally vague, hoping that somebody will think it's deep, basically.
And hopefully Game Theory can make videos about it.
Did Game Theory touch this one?
I don't know.
I don't watch that channel, so.
No, neither do I. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay. So if you are so curious, go watch it then. I'm not watching. I'm not touching that shit.
Fine. I'll take a search.
Okay.
Although, to be fair, when it comes to the rip-off games, joke was on them. Game Theory never really covered them.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, he has to figure out. He's too busy figuring out the FNAF lore.
It's
or
honestly,
the Undertale lore.
There you go.
Know that Ness is actually Sans? I hated that.
Did you know that Phoenix Wright is actually a criminal?
Well, I don't know. Have you played Rise from the Ashes? He should be arrested.
We're not going to talk about Japanese law at all while discussing it.
Anyway, from what I can see, Game Theory has not done a video based off of Journey.
Well, good thing then. Well, there's not even any point in making I guess you can also give your own personal first, so people can at the very least compare and everything. It's nice.
That's the thing, though. Honestly, the big theory to have about this game is essentially stated right there and then when we get to the end anyway, so there's not really much to theorize about with this game, honestly, because
I will argue the detail. I will argue some of the details. I'm gonna get into more specifics later, but there are some details that I can definitely see how many different interpretations you can have.
As Pedro said, the core of the story, yes, but the little bits of lore that we see about individual people, quote unquote, is.
That I get, but my argument is that Game Theory tries to go for the answers that aren't there in particular. Normally, they raise a theory to answer, quote-unquote, questions of sorts. There's never really been any question of Journey when you get to the end, because you pretty much get everything that was in there here or there. Game Theory goes for, trying to solve the big unsolvable mystery, whereas here, the answer is essentially given to you, and there's not really much room for, a double speech in it. It deliberately tells you what this was working towards. Now, yes, you can draw on, the different interpretations of the point to getting to the end, but mostly other than that, you do get what it's all for. And thus, I think that's why Game Theory didn't really tackle this game.
Funny that we're doing this not long after publishing FIFA: The Journey.
Yes.
More of a coincidence than anything, Shiro.
Oh, Tio,
The web's went on his own journey then.
Don't you see? Our protagonist is secretly Alex Hunt.
There you go. We freed all these
the
squids from their prison, I guess.
Hey, Flash.
And one of them is calling us.
Oh,
I wonder if it was actually merchandised in the form of actual like plush toys of these.
Oh my god, that's right. Come to think of it, when we last commentated on Journey, Splatoon wasn't even out.
and now Splatoon is almost 6 years old.
Alright, let's go.
Getting a third game.
It turned 6 this month.
Now it's actually time for my favorite set piece in terms of actually just how visually the game can look.
Oh yeah, pretty
And
much
slide?
a lot of people say
The
this.
slide, yes.
Welcome everyone to the Golden Sand section, as I call it.
Yes.
Here we go.
There is a trophy if you can manage to actually go through all of the arcs like this one. But again,
it's happened to your inner Sonic adventure.
I was just about to say it's Sand Road from Sonic Adventure.
Don't you mean more like Sandhill from Sonic Adventure 1?
Shut up. Yeah, it is Sandhill,
It's
actually.
Sandopolis from Sonic 06.
I don't know, Shiroi, our
Sandopolis
traveler.
wasn't in Sonic.
I think you mean Dusty Desert, Shiroi.
They're desert levels, they're all the same.
I also don't know, Shiroi. Our main protagonist seem to be surviving pretty much fine on the sand.
This one's beautiful, this one can stay.
Yes.
But the others gotta go.
This was Red Dead Redemption are fine too, I think.
Oh, that's cool. You think Anakin would like this place?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't either, I actually don't like sand.
Yeah, okay, look.
Because it's coarse and it gets everywhere.
I mean, as much as it's a meme, it is a true statement.
No, I'm not even saying it for the sake of memes like I normally would. I do not like sand.
Oh, and I get that. I get that too. It's just that what an awkward topic to start a conversation with.
It is yet another proof that George Lucas doesn't know how to write dialogues on his
To
own.
be
But
fair,
Lucas doesn't know how to be romantic.
To be fair, I get the feeling that was sort of the point of that, to get around how
be awkward.
Anakin was on that.
I guess, but again, it's a story for episode 2.
Anyway, I'll just say this though, sand, it can be very beautiful to look at. But actually going on a beach or anywhere sandy enough in person, it's like, oh god, no. And I swear, every time, no matter how well stuff is sealed, no matter how much stuff is zipped up or packed away, sand is somehow getting in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it sucks getting it out.
Basically. And there we go. Alright, we'll
free my scarf pieces before we contain more of you within our scarf.
Alright. Now, thanks to those scars, we can probably get some enough height.
High ground.
So we can actually...
Not gonna lie, this place would not look out of place enough for me to wait a game.
Well, no, it's abundantly clear that Fumitoida's work was a big influence for this.
Yeah, it has a lot of the same ideas behind, again, ancient civilization, lost ruins, a plot that's not spoon-fed to you, but you have to potentially give your own interpretation.
And here we go.
Round 2. Now the set is actually golden. Thankfully, the music here is actually, complementary.
Wait,
sure,
you don't like the Mario slide?
No, it's fine, but it's more play, almost for funsies, for laugh. This obviously goes for the more artistic route.
Yeah, of course.
Also, wouldn't it have been more fitting to hum the Sandhill theme?
No.
Does the Advanced Trilogy have a sand theme level?
Look at that next-gen sand.
That's a...
Well,
No.
is it next gen though? It's technically 7. It's technically very, 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 very pristine 7th gen sand, but it is still pretty.
Oh, there you go. Here's the moment that left Shiroi and Jova speechless in the original run.
Whoa, the sliding's good.
Not just that,
And
just
again,
look at
mind
this.
you,
Again, lighting. Here's what a good lighting engine can actually do.
Mind you, this was originally done on the PS3.
Well, the PS3 was pretty powerful and graphical,
but it was a nightmare to work on.
The PS3.
No, it's notorious. Yes. It was notorious for being, a hard, extremely, tedious, especially for doing an exclusive. About
and as a result, a lot of games that would have looked better didn't look their best on the PS3 because it was so terrible to work with. So again, getting a game, assuming you weren't Naughty Dog, getting a game looking as good as it could on the PS3 was a major challenge.
I mean, that was even the easy part. The more rough one was actually giving a stable performance.
And they did all that with this game.
And
jump.
This is what you can achieve with the PS5.
Well,
just imagine it.
And the end of the magic.
And now we fall into a dark and very different place than we've been before.
The game decided we had enough fun.
Yeah.
Yep, indeed.
Again, it's an actual mood shift that works for the better because you just had this kind of adrenaline rush, not adrenaline, but dopamine kind of rush for this segment. But now things are about to get a bit more eerie.
And this again fits in with the theme of the journey.
I mean, this is by all means this is not one of those super scary games with the coat of cutesiness.
And this time the white guide spirit thing is not even facing us.
Well, it was facing us, but it wasn't facing us in the game.
So let's see what's coming next.
Without the clothes, the civilization did not have energy. Again, because
scarf.
They wanted to fight for it, I guess.
And apparently, there's things with eyes.
They made guardians, which is how Hyrule died.
And then Brother Eye took over.
Oh god, it's always fucking Brother Eye.
Yep.
This is why you never should have made Divine Beast.
Okay then.
So what we have to go up against may be a remnant of war.
Let's see.
That's alive.
I'm sure everything's gonna be fine, Jova, don't worry.
Totally.
After all, remember what Sonic said, an adventure is not fun if it's too easy.
Alright, so now we have white sand.
Well, mostly because the rays of light that enter in the dark place makes it color like that. Most of the time it's mostly just blue.
Can you fly at any time you want, or no?
No.
No, you need carpets propelling you.
Yeah, your Scarf Act also has an energy meter for the flight. You can replenish it very easily if you find the mini pieces of cloth around, or there's a particular condition that allows you for it. But otherwise, no, you cannot abuse it. I mean, flying allows you only to potentially, bypass walking a lot and reaching some areas that contain a collectible that you can find. So, right, I still didn't explain. The singing that the traveler can do with the circle button depends on how long you can press it, and depending also the area where you're in. The longer you press it, the bigger the singing will be, and it will be more joyous. It's also kind of like a source of heat, as you will see later.
Tunnels, even.
There's towers.
There's a collectible over there, but I don't have any energy left on my scarf, so I'm gonna have to go back and get it. Alright, let's go.
Also, Traveler, your scarf is clipping a bit.
Wait, his name is Trouser?
Traveler. Well, no, okay.
More like a pilgrim, more than anything.
The protagonist doesn't have a canonical name, not even a generic one. So there are different ones: robed figure, traveler, pilgrim.
So like the knight from Hollow Knight.
Pretty much.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, like we mentioned, this was a pioneer for the genre to create this kind of nameless protagonist that doesn't really have also a face. Their identity is not super important for the grand scheme of things. So. There we go. Let me check what else the composer did in the meantime. On Steve Wintory, might as well.
All right, let's increase the size of our scarf a bit more. There you go.
He also did compose for Flow, so like he was already on board with that game company. Also, he composed for Leisure Suit Larry Reloaded.
Yes, he did.
Okay, interesting.
Oh, nice.
He actually did a good job with that, actually.
And he composed the Banner Saga trilogy games, which they do legitimately have a great soundtrack.
Well, what is the thing too? Like, Reloaded was actually Alo's remake of the original game, done in the same style as the AGDI remakes of King's Quest that we did.
Okay.
So all Austin had to do was basically just take the original tunes and just orchestrate them, really. So it wasn't really even that much of a challenge.
Look at that, guys. It's like we're underwater.
It's almost like, but no, we're still not. Again, it's also a bit of a magic that the game provides, thanks to how the pieces of cloth are made, their shape, and how you interact with them. They create these, this similar effect, like you're, under the water, but when you're technically not.
Mm-hmm.
Combined with what we're about to see also, it does remind me a bit, I wonder if it might have been a bit of inspiration from one of the shorts from season 1 of Love, Death, Robots. Have you actually seen it, Dej?
No.
Oh, hold on. I saw something.
Something. Oh.
May have just been your imagination.
I wonder. Oh. Huh. Okay. Interesting statues.
Pigs out there.
At least our little buddy is also fine, so there is that.
Whoa!
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah, nothing to see here. So
it's a Metal Gear Ray.
Kinda mixed with the Shadow of the Colossus a bit. Basically, this is gonna be technically the more challenging part of the entire game. Well, at least in terms of mechanic. These things will scan the area. If you manage to get spotted, no matter, even if you take cover after that, you will actually get attacked and you will lose a bit of your scarf as a result.
Oh yeah!
Very quickly, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise, surprise, the scarf does have a meaning here. It is essentially your life force, so guard it well.
What happens if you die?
Well, if you die, you have to start the journey again, obviously.
You start from the very beginning?
Yes. It's a short game anyway.
Well, the game is only 90 minutes in nature, so the game is designed in a way that makes it very easy to replay. If you not to mention that, honestly, you can easily get through the game even at your first time without dying. Yeah. Like the game is not really challenging.
In order to prove this theory, sure, I need you to play this.
No. This is a stealth section. We need Dwibs to do it.
He doesn't even like science to begin with. Oh man.
Anyway, yeah, the game showed you that bit with the statue, killing those scarves. Just to basically, it's its way of showing you what that thing does if it sees you. So be careful.
Shit.
Oh crap.
Hey there.
So I like the assumption that I would die if I played this game.
How good are you at video games?
Oh crap.
Oh dear.
All right.
Oh, look at that! Their eyes even changed color.
And there you go.
There you go.
Also, in terms of how the game feels, every time you make a step, the vibration of your controller responds, accurately. So depending on the type of terrain where you are and the situation where you're in, like say there's elements against you, or the traveler, is struggling to go up a ramp, like in this case, into a side ascend kind of ramp, the controller will make you actually feel about it.
Also, you'll notice that there are some corpses of those giant beings hunting us.
Again, there was apparently some sort of war, because apparently there wasn't enough cloth for everyone. Again, stuff it's up for interpretation.
Now you see, this is actually like Steven Universe, where the traveler is actually one of them, and he was betrayed.
Oh, here you go.
Or something like
and now we have a section where there's a shit ton of them, so we have to book it.
With another slide.
Think of this like the shark scene.
Okay,
what?
We have to really book it with a slide.
Let's go!
Nothing to see here.
Oh, fuck.
Shit!
Hot! Belong, suckers!
Alright.
Oh, so that was just a set piece.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And now we're home free. Well, actually, Dej, if you still have to slide, you still have to move forward. If you stop mid-slide, you'll die. So.
I get what he means, though. That is technically a set piece in the sense, like, well, it is a piece set into the game to, mix up the variation of movement and overall the new bit here and there. But yeah, those consider
And
that
now
section.
both of them are looking at the same thing, the mountain.
Yes.
Ask me what it means.
You will find out.
Look,
So that's kind of what's happening, actually.
Look, son, everything the light touches belongs to us. What about that one?
Lots of dead people.
That's Death Stranding.
That's the overall. That's the overall premise.
And the kingdom got covered by sand.
That's the overall premise.
And there were many dead and buried.
So we were probably sliding along graves. Great.
Yay!
Yep.
That's the radical way.
Your destination is the mountain, my son. Why do you have to go there? What is there waiting for you? Well, you have to go reach there to find out.
That's us. Don't you see? It's symbolic, I guess.
Well, remember these drawings every time at the end of the level are foreshadowing for what we for the next level.
Okay, up until this point they were kind of like ideally flashback, but now we start to actually tell the story of the traveler. So things are getting a bit more, interesting.
Are we the chosen one?
We could be potentially.
Well, I can tell that the ending of the game will reveal that we're not more special than anybody else.
Okay, now it's time for another type of puzzle. You need to reactivate bit by bit this gigantic cylinder. I guess that's the best way to define it, so you can actually reach the top.
I think that's more like a tower of sorts.
It is a tower, but you're technically on the inside of a bigger one, because like you're inside of a building and there's this central column, But yeah, I guess tower is a good definition. If I recall correctly, it's also here where you can find one of the Easter eggs of the game.
Does this game reference an Astro's playroom?
Yes.
Or talk about?
Yes, it has a traveler bot.
At the end of the PS3, like when you're literally about to end it, there's a snowy mountain and there's a bot dressed like this pilgrim. It's clearly meant to be a journey reference.
This was released still near the ending years of a PS3, and it was actually very beloved even when it came out. So. That's also
like I said, a lot of people really wanted to copy this game's success.
Like this is also why, sadly, the presentation and the first impression of the PS3 were kind of crucial, because a couple of games that were released around those initial years, like Folklore instead, were actually pretty much forgotten even these days, and the companies that made them actually failed.
Have you played that game company's other projects?
Actually haven't, but okay. No, because Abzu was not made by that game company. But like I said, some people that worked on this game worked on that one too.
Like I said, you can play Flower on the. If you can play Flower, play it on the PS4, because the Blue Point Games remaster is the better one.
But yeah, I also haven't seen Sky Children of the Light. So I don't know how that turned out to be. It actually was released relatively recent, only first on mobile.
Oh, look at that. I guess I was right. These murals are now starting to show our past ventures.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that this game has replayability, or it could feel a bit one and done?
I would argue it does have replayability, but how you get that replayability
depends on you.
Vary.
Pretty much.
Like if you're like me or Teo, who like to collect trophies, the game you'll get a lot of playtime if you're trying to get all the trophies.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is also the at the very least a second playthrough is definitely a good idea. When you find out what the greater point was, experiencing this game again with that hindsight in mind is quite nice, because you get the proper understanding of what the game was trying to convey to you.
Which I know that feeling now, thanks to the fact that this is technically our second commentary.
Mm-hmm. The irony, Jova. But
have you played this yet, by any chance?
No, but I played this for them back in 2014, like they said. This was their that was their introduction to the game, basically.
That's the thing, Dej. Like, believe it or not, it was only recently that this game got added to the PS4. Otherwise, it was still on the PS3.
Well, actually,
that I do not own.
Hold on, let me see.
Now, isn't it?
Let me see on.
Yes, on the Epic Game Store.
Well,
Again,
if I remember
correctly, that was relatively recently.
No, I think it was like in 2016. It wasn't that long ago.
2015, July 21.
Oh, there you go. See, it was literally like...
And like I said, last year it was actually given for free for an extensive period of time with the Play at Home initiative.
Again, like...
That's what I'm thinking of.
So the Journey got ported to the PS4 in 2015, yeah, what Teo said.
Oh, never mind then. Just never really got around to it, I guess, because again, that first look at it did feel like an overall playthrough here and there. Like, once you know about it, that will definitely weigh your variance on how much you want to replay it. Me, as far as I'm concerned, seeing it was fine enough. I mean, sure, I'm sure that playing it may feel different, but knowing what it is, I do feel content and complete enough having seen it here and there. I wouldn't say that I'd be against receiving the game for free or something and giving it a try myself. But
you had your chance last year, though.
Is that a subliminal message to Deji or something? Like,
a subliminal... Whatever.
Maybe.
But
wrong word.
Tell you what, Jova. once you finally play once you do Astral Chain for your channel, then we'll talk.
Anyway, let me...
have that game
I would
and
like
everything.
to try this at some point.
Anyway, this particular, I guess, fog that we're raising actually fills my scarf with energy, so I don't fall. Like if I fall into the fog, it fills my scarf, so I can just fly back up.
Again, it also reinforces a bit the underwater theme, which is also why you can potentially find one of the minor creatures of Flow, one of the other games that the game company did. If you find it, you actually get a trophy. But actually, that's still a good question related to what Dejimon were saying, because I actually did not check what was the starting price of this when it got released.
12. I got it back when it first. There was a friend of mine who was a big fan of it, and he recommended it to me. That's how I first played it. Back then, it cost $12 on the PS3 digitally.
Yeah, for a game like this, it's an actually very acceptable price. To be honest.
Definitely. Like for $12, this is pretty much a no-brainer in my eyes.
Unlike the other game me and Teo commentated on a few days ago.
To be fair, not really that. Okay, like I said to you and Terence, I would, if it was it's get on a sale like for a lower price than the original, I would be perfectly fine with that. It's just the starter price that feels a bit iffy.
Yeah.
It's the entire reason why The Witness has its infamous reputation, because despite being a very great puzzle game, it's still $40 standard. But
and we have reached
we're about
the
to
top.
actually get an important piece of lore because we reached the top. Yes.
All right, let's see what my white spirit person thing has to tell me this time. Oh.
Shiny.
I'm absorbing all the data.
It could be interpretation, actually, if you want.
Yeah.
So, there we are.
Let's see.
You may notice also that the white figures seem to be getting more taller and more imposing the closer we get.
That reminds me of that one character from the Owl House.
Okay, so yeah. Oh, look at that. The bridge that we built. The friends we made.
Along the way, the slide.
The slide.
And what we kind of just passed with the tunnel and the tower. But it also showcased what's going to happen next.
Wind.
And the mountain.
Alright, we are close, actually. We're almost there.
Anyway, I thought you were going to say that it reminded you of Gamagori.
But
Kill.
it doesn't paint us in a great light.
Because you notice he's got the whole size changing thing anyway.
That's the question. Do you accept your fate?
What's the worst that could happen?
Okay, so now all we have to do is continue because we're almost there.
I mean,
might as well.
I mean, it's not like we can turn back anyway.
That's also
Oh boy, and now we have to deal with snow.
Everyone's favorite. Except in Portugal, which rarely gets snow, from what I hear.
We do get snow in certain regions, like more like one of the northern ones. But yeah, like my country and snow are not that big on each other. No. Most of the time, we don't have snow in most of the country. No, not really.
Mm-hmm.
We're very close to the equator, so.
I would say you're not missing much, but it's nice to experience every once in a while.
Much like someone who actually grew up, say, in Switzerland and has never seen the sea. It's like an experience that...
Alright, it's right there.
Yeah, close enough.
Well, we're definitely closer than we've been before, so we're getting there. Progress.
But here's the thing, the cold seems to have an effect on the clothing.
Wow,
it
as you would expect.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
Our singing can actually revive it, but not for long.
I guess being a cloak isn't that easy. No, Pedro, no.
Not even just that, too. If you didn't notice, one of those things on the ground was actually one of those squid things that actually
got buried inside.
And just stopped moving.
But of course, those are not affected. A piece of shit.
Okay, well, they're far away, fortunately. So I guess for now we don't have to deal with. But yeah, like the murals told us, yes, our next obstacle is the wind. So yeah, these particular rocks right here, these are your protection. If you get hit with the wind, you'll be taken aback. So make sure to stay behind these rocks so that the wind will not impede your progress.
And unfortunately, the cold is also starting to affect a bit our character. Which also means that you basically barely cannot even fly in this section. Even if you manage to, regain that power, it gets depleted very quickly.
Makes moving around more
Beautiful
cumbersome.
snow. I am curious if they're reusing the same assets for the stand.
It might be.
Probably.
Well,
just take the sand, color it white. There you go. There's snow.
The trail that you're leaving on the snow, I can see that is actually different from the one, but you actually don't really leave that much in the sand. In here, it's actually more marked, and it gets covered immediately when there's more. So even if it's the same asset, they actually apply the different physics onto it.
That's nice.
Again, I don't. While it's widely used, I actually don't know how versatile the fire engine might be. But it seems that all companies still use it to this day anyway, so there is that.
Alright. Let's carry on.
It's pretty snow is the point.
Actually, I think you already told us, Shira, in the past, but just to be safe again, does it snow at least a bit in Wales when it's cold enough?
Mountains, yes. Otherwise, we just get the sleet. So
everyone's favorite.
You can find me not leaving my house.
Yeah, it's similar to here. Like mostly only mountains really get snow. Like outside of the mountains over here, just rain in the winter, and that's basically it.
Meanwhile, I come from the good old country of the United States of America, where we get a whole roulette of different climates.
Well, you get whatever you want depending where you are. Well, more specifically,
a random roulette every day.
Since you're near New York, Job, I can imagine you can get snowstorms very frequently. In fact, you actually did a couple of times, as far as I recall.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, believe it or not, in an area like New York, that is one of the places where we get all sorts of different climates based off of the weather's mood.
Also, it's funny that I say this because it didn't stick, but we actually did get snow on lower ground a couple of months back.
Yeah, same for here.
All right, looks like we've gone past the wind, so should be smooth sailing from this point on, right?
Hopefully.
And now there are cherry blossoms all over the place.
All right.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. Okay.
I can fly.
One of our old friends. Nice to see you again.
Well, again, the cold is still having an impact.
Okay, Elsa, you can turn it down.
You coming?
He doesn't seem to want to come any further for some reason.
All right.
Oh.
Well, I had to get to the mountain though, so
yeah. Again, the traveler has to go at their own pace.
And there's why he didn't want to come.
Also, I distinctly remember there's Easter. This game also got referenced a bit in other game being so inspiring. We mentioned Astral's the Playroom, but also the Unfinished Swan as an Easter egg, where there's a room with a telescope, and if you zoom in enough, you actually see the planet where these events are happening.
All right, and now we just have to climb this structure.
Yeah, there's a pallet actually now, I think.
Okay, fine. Should be better than down here in the snow, I guess. So, let's go.
Hey everybody, I'm on my way. And something. The rest of the lyrics are hard to remember. Because that movie's not that memorable.
What song are you referencing?
On My Way from Brother Bear.
Phil Collins.
Goodbye. No.
That particular area contained a sort of a lantern, but you could potentially use to hit, and if you use that, you could actually get up and have another extra mural. Because again, our character is getting more and more frozen as we progress, but which also impedes also the ability to fly. So unless there you go. The clothing that's here helps, but as you can see, it's still a very limited experience. Barely just useful to move.
Mm-hmm.
At least it can't get any worse from here, right?
Well,
Let's
How
see.
about another stealth section?
Nah. Well, maybe. Hopefully not. That would. Okay, let's see.
The
So where?
music says otherwise.
Okay, so where's the mountain? I can see the mountain
there's
from
the
here.
moon.
Go towards the moon.
We're supposed to go towards the mountain, though.
So what happens
No,
once it
just-
pushes you back? Do you just fall down, or
You just fall back a few meters, and you just have to go back,
Yeah.
basically. Oh, you'll
But
be
the
fine.
wind makes sure that you never actually manage to move forward enough. It's actually a thing that you're struggling against.
Yeah. So you really need to make. Oh, there it is. So okay, we're a bit off track, but we should be able to get back on it relatively quickly.
Even the music is
Super.
getting super intense.
All right. It's okay. We got this. Oh, there's that thing again. Because of course.
We don't got this.
Oh fuck. This freaking wind.
come on, Pedro? It's like that one Mario Party minigame.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Alright, so yes, like Shiro said, yes, we have another stealth section.
Actually, Tia said that, but
Oh, okay,
Whatever, it's not
okay.
important.
Okay, Teo.
Colonel, what do I have to do with these metal gears?
Alright, so basically, like Teo said, don't allow yourself to get detected, because even if you take cover after it, this thing will even destroy these mini structures.
Again, the moment you're caught, you're essentially fucked for that bit of health.
Alright. Fortunately, I'm not gonna get caught on this one.
Or so he says.
Alright.
Or, yeah, I guess.
Alright. Trying to see if there's any more. Fortunately, it's only one of them, it seems. So, it looks like we're fine. I mean, I'm trying to see where was the one. If that one that we see over there on the distance is actually the same one, because it seemed a bit weird that he would just disappear. But whatever. Moving on.
Okay, just dig within the snow. He won't find you.
Sadly, we don't have that luxury because, again, our character is getting more and more frozen in hypothermia to hypothermia.
It's either be frozen or be eaten.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it worked for Simo Haya in a way, I guess.
The monster will get a nice popsicle, I guess.
That's very considerate.
Okay. So.
Fortunately, Pilgrim is off the menu.
And ooh, there. Okay. Now, where is it? Doesn't seem to be around. Oh, there it is.
Remember, in this section, your movement is also very limited, so that's where the extra challenge comes from.
Alright, carry on. Let's just make sure it's safe, because there's not a structure right after this one. At least not immediately.
The patterns are also a bit slightly erratic, and even if you get spotted by the borders of the light cone, you're equally fucked. So it's a huge area we need to avoid.
Okay, this one rock. It's my only landmark so far. There. Oh, and there's more stuff there.
Thankfully, there are some pieces of clothing to avoid you freezing completely, I guess.
Yes. And here's another one of these. Okay.
Oh,
Come out with your hands in the air.
I get it. It also
I would not
reminds.
be surprised if they were based off of the stone colossi. Like heck, their
Yeah,
eyes
the
even
phalanx.
when
They
go
do have a bit in
to,
common with phalanx.
It's a game
Not
I
only
want
that-
to play.
And not only that, Tio, but their eyes change color when they go into attack mode as well.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna get when it was free on PSN. When I was like, let me just try to see how forces would be if at 60 FPS.
But interesting trivia about something that you can do. After you beat the game once, if you start another playthrough and you get to one of the initial areas, like one of the very first one, you can get a sort of a teleporter thing that actually allows you to teleport directly to the beginning of a mountain area for some reason.
It's because when you finish it, you basically unlock a subtle level select. Basically, you get to a specific area in the first level, and there's these various light things on the ground, and basically they serve as your level select, kind of.
You can go immediately to the sand slide if you so choose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You can only use it once though. Like once you go to a specific level, in order to get back to the beginning and level select again, you have to
beat the game.
You have to beat the game again.
Again, this is a short experience anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm. The level set is mostly there to make trophy hunting a bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
This is an experience game, but it's still a video game.
Okay.
Nothing to see here.
Exactly.
Never see here. No stones.
All right, let's go.
We're part of the architecture.
Oh fuck.
Hey, wait a minute.
And
Nothing
there.
to see here, officer.
All right, let's wait till he passes through.
You know, this is what Metal Gear Solid was needing more. Flying stone pillars.
Wait, I've got it. Flying Metal Gears.
No, actually, the eye reminds me of Xana from Code Lyoko.
Oh my god, Xana fused with Metal Gear.
No, stop. That's a terrible idea.
Truly a weapon to surpass everything. Okay.
We'd have to restart time so many times that...
Alright. And there you go. We're almost done. We just have to get to that entryway. It's coming back. Hold on. Okay. Alright. Let's go.
That's okay.
Alright. Hopefully the mountain is right after this rock. Maybe.
It's okay. Take a chance, for there is no circumstance that you can hit.
Of course.
And you use your mind.
Journey.
Also,
Journey.
you might want to get not too far,
Alright. Let's see.
I'd say trouble keeps us running faster, but we're not running faster.
No, we're actually running slower, sadly.
Save your cultivation from disaster.
But yeah, there's just one thing before the home stretch, if I recall correctly.
Oh boy, another stretcher for us to climb. Great.
Yeah, that's the one.
Fortunately, there's some really big pieces of scarf here, so we can use them to our advantage. Alright, let's go.
Zoop!
There we go. That wasn't so bad. Alright.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, there's one last corridor palace thingy before actually having the last attraction.
We're gonna have one more duel with the wind before this is over.
Of course.
Compared to the guards, this should be easy.
It is, especially because the game is actually pretty forgiving on this particular one. Even if you do fall,
the wind is trying to eat us.
Even if you do fall in this particular section, there's actually a bottom level to this stretcher that gives you, basically, if you fall through the harder one, that's okay. You fall into this easier path that allows you to go straight to the end of it. So the game designers actually did get merciful at this point.
Almost like they're trying to ease us into something at the end. I wonder.
Fuck. Fortunately, there's this Fortunately, this place is cooled off, so I don't fall here. Oh crap!
Oh, so much Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm. Mother Nature's a bitch. And there. Okay. Let's climb these stairs. We cool, Mother Nature? We cool?
No, apparently not.
No, we're not.
The music is still getting more tense.
Ah, damn it. Okay, now in here you can actually fall. So this is the actual hard part of it.
And you can also feel your PS4 controller rumbling as well.
Yeah, yes. Basically, the rumble in this game changes depending on how, like for example, in this particular part, considering the steps are getting slower and slower and slower. There you go. See, if you fall into this easier path that allows you to just go up with no wind. So you'll be fine.
Mario Party mini game. Jesus Christ!
Yes,
I wonder if the devs were a fan of that.
Would not surprise me.
But yeah, yes, the rumble. Basically, the rumble is starting subtle, but every time the steps get harder and harder for your character, the heavier the rumble feels every time you take a step. Basically.
There we go.
There you go. We did it. And there's the mountain. We're almost there.
It's just a matter of one last bit.
All right.
Again, you sure about that? It looks pretty high up still.
Well,
I don't care, Mr. Composer. We're gonna make it.
And of course, the wind is still around to make
with extra thunder.
Oh crap!
I am curious if there was another way of getting here. Like maybe there was a different destination.
No. Aside from that bottom easier path that I just showed, the game is very linear. Like you always get here the exact same way.
Yeah.
Oh crap! Okay.
You see, this is what it's like walking in the snow during a snowstorm.
Pretty much. There was actually a year in my country, I think it was like 2010 or 11, where in January there was actually a massive snowstorm, and I actually was forced to do all the way back from the school that I was there at the time till home by foot. Like the snow was like arriving at over my knees, and if you don't know, I'm actually relatively tall, so that means a lot. So,
how tall are you?
Sorry, can you repeat that, Dej?
How tall are you?
Near 2 meters.
So in feet?
I don't know.
We use meters over here, Dej.
See, Dej, there are two kinds of people. The one who use the metric system and the complete degenerate.
How many feet equal a meter, or vice versa?
I'll get you thanks to Google, especially because we're having another important moment.
6 feet.
And yes, my steps are getting slower.
Come on, Traveler, you can do it. We don't even see where the fuck the mountain is anymore.
Yeah, I can't even see the mountain at this point.
Basically, Dad, it's 6.5 feet.
Must get.
Wait, 6.5 feet is what?
Later,
meters.
Okay, yeah.
Must get. Mount.
You're quiet.
That's the hypothermia kicking in, Shiroi.
Yeah, he's just frozen solid.
Almost. Well, we tried, I guess.
Is this like that one Stephen King movie that I don't remember what it is?
Well,
with the Here's Johnny.
Well, crap.
You mean The Shining?
Oh my god! Wow, how's that escaping me right now?
You mean The Shining?
Yeah, it's The Shining. That was bad. I really am tired today.
Yeah, I mean, that's only arguably his most recognized story of all time.
Actually, it's
the name was escaping me.
Yeah, I think it's it. But,
The Shining is more recognizable.
So,
I'm pretty sure the
mission
Shining is more
accomplished?
recognized.
Not really, I guess.
And well,
We tried, okay? Stop judging.
How pathetic.
Meanie.
Oh yes, because you were doing so much better.
however,
Basically, the game actually does get, take pity on your sorry ass and decides to give you, like, the last minute superpower.
And-
Scarf of
To go even beyond.
proportions!
Is this
The Man of
really a
Steel.
superpower, though?
Hey,
and
the Man of Steel
assholes!
theme song.
What as I blast right through you?
yes, and now my scarf is super
Because-
long.
What's this? The stone beings
And now,
turned into our carpet friends. That's right. Apparently, the stone beings that were trying to eat us were the carpet dragons corrupted.
well, that's
Now,
well, maybe if that's Jova's interpretation, sure.
This
well,
is
I mean,
basically
considering
your.
how we literally see them run into the portal and then come out that way, though.
There you go.
So yeah, this is the
your-
final level, and it also has my favorite music track in the game.
Well, again, it's all about the experience that you just had. So basically, you had all these harsh moments. So of course, now that you got through it, through essentially Deus Ex Machina, it's all about the joy of a moment and your last stretch of the journey.
All right, there you go. We finally arrived at the mountains. Now we just have to climb it. There you go, right there. The top is right there. All right, one last slide for old time's sake.
Why not? And since the area is basically covered, it's basically as everywhere, pieces of cloth that you can use. So there's one way or another for your meter to never run out.
Alley-oop.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's literally riding up backward of waterfall. And there you go. Now you're back. You're back in another section where there's that fog that Pedro mentioned before, like in the tower. So that means you can just fly over everything.
All right.
Ah, this is beautiful. Too much bloom.
Yeah, I can. Okay, I haven't seen what the PS3 version looked like. At least personally experienced. So I actually wonder how much the blue was.
The PS version looks pretty much basically the same. Like aside from the higher frame rate and the higher resolution, the visuals weren't really altered. Not really. It looks the same basically.
All right.
So here is essentially where this game differs from a lot of the games that tried to rip it off here. The payoff here. The payoff is, well, kind of a power fantasy. Pretty fun to do. The knockoffs never thought to actually include that because they thought, oh, it'll happen, so, well, that's it. And
A lot of
it's
time,
games.
or a lot of times they want to instead, wanting to go through the other direction, having a potential darker undertone, which I can see.
Not
I can
inherently
see
a
why
bad
they would
thing.
do that. It's more for the sake of providing different material. There you
Boy,
go.
here we go.
Well, I hope you liked our Night Sec demo.
All right, we are literally about to reach the top.
It's also interesting how well the music is timed, even if you can take your time. It doesn't relatively loop, if I recall correctly. It just manages to be at the perfect moment.
All right, we've reached the top. Now let's see what exactly is enveloping that light.
A mirror.
You see, the light was inside you all along, dude.
Yes, it was a journey about self-reflection. That you were clinging on to some power source or something like that.
The real journey was the sand that we collected in our boots along the way.
And snow. Nah, I'm not really big on that song, to be honest.
Neither am I. I don't remember it aside from that one line.
Ugh.
I actually really like that song. So, we're getting closer and closer and closer. Unless that light is being a dick and constantly warping away from us.
They turn into a ghost. Or maybe the plot twist is that you were dead all along and this was your journey to the afterlife.
Okay, I can tell you this now. One potential interpretation is actually that you have died in that storm and this thing essentially you experiencing the afterlife. It's a very valid, theory.
It's the interpretation I go for personally.
It's I think honestly, when you take a look at all of the stuff, that's pretty much the most obvious one to me.
Mm-hmm.
The entire themes of the game, as you're also about to see coming to the conclusion, is all about death and rebirth and a sort of cycle of reincarnation.
Especially when you read the trophy names. The trophy names pretty much give it away when you get right down to it.
Mm-hmm.
So he failed.
I'll just let you wait to see the end, Edge.
My God, I didn't realize I need to clean my computer.
It's so disgustingly bright.
No, I just really have to complete my computer monitor. It's dusty.
Yeah, every time there's a
voice
came, it reveals all the shames of your monitor.
No, that's just the sand getting everywhere.
Of course.
Sure, let's go with that lie.
And look what we have here. A new grave.
Not just that.
And a new ray springing from the mountain.
A new shooting star springs from the mountain. I wonder what that was.
Don't even worry about it.
It does. You remember how we started off with a shooting star?
Thank you for playing Journey. And we have a vocal theme based on the main theme of the game. I actually don't know who is singing it. Let me see.
But
what you're saying is it's a never-ending journey.
The never-ending cycle of life.
Okay. Just wait until you see the end because there's one last subtitle that pretty much reveals all.
Well, more like the end of the thing, but you'll see.
If you actually have the online activated, you can potentially see occasionally if you look at the mountain beams of light. Those are potentially other players that go through that. Mm-hmm. And during the credits, there is a chance that you actually travel near other players that are, fucking around in the levels. Again, there's this kind of connectivity, but in a more anonymous state until the very end, where it tells you potentially the players that you have witnessed along your journey. But let me see. There you go. The music composed. There we go. The voice that we're hearing is Lisbeth Scott for the final track, which is called "I Was Born for This."
That's actually one of the tracks that YouTube ID'd when I uploaded.
I can imagine vocal tracks tends to be super copyright, nightmarish, unless there are specific examples. And I can definitely tell this is one of the things. This is one of those that tends to be very beloved.
All right.
There she is, Lisbeth Scott.
I was born for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wait till you see the last title, though. Pedro will recall, though, that there is supposed to be something interesting that shows up at the end of this scene.
You know, it shows that it's a prequel to Flower. Gotcha.
Not quite. You'll see. It got me and Shuri when we saw it as well. Granted, I was sort of garnering on to what it was by this point, but you may be a bit interested. Let's just say our protagonist's journey was not a failure. In fact, it was probably a rounding success.
Again, it's one of interpretations that you can easily give. The game is open up to whatever. You can think of it. It's not even like in a cheap way, like say, oh, developers just threw the idea and decide to let the player figure it out. No, it's mostly.
There's a senior producer called Justin Bailey.
Okay.
Because that's a Metroid reference.
On a related note about what Deji said earlier, I also take the last not the last section, the next section as more as, when you talk about the interpretation of this being the journey of life, like essentially what's known as the winter years.
Yeah, that's what I always say, Shiroi. Look at the creatures that are attacking us when we get to the dark structure. You can interpret that as opponents you have to face in life, or just the obstacles in general, or anything in general that can be a threat to your life. Like you can literally interpret that as whatever might be meaningful to your personal life that you've had, basically.
And here we are, back to where we started, but now it's nighttime with the stars shooting out.
Close to the dawn, actually.
It's not. There you go. And now, hold on. It's still gonna be a bit. Come on, come up.
Come on.
It's the Teletubbies or something.
No.
There you go.
What?
That's what the twist was. I was gonna laugh. Like he just edited the Teletubbies, son.
No.
Time for Teletubbies. Time for Teletubbies.
No.
Are you ready for some Teletubby custom?
And hold on.
Here we go.
And there you go. Now, hold on. It's gonna show up in a bit. New journey. There you go. So there you go. The cycle begins anew.
So essentially, Dej, what this game was the cycle of life, essentially.
Yeah,
like,
basically.
You notice how you start out in a desert as the sun rises, signifying birth. You get a feeling of yourself, which is the feeling of childhood. Then by the time when you're in the golden years, essentially, you're in the prime of your youth as you're sliding gracefully, fast ever so whatnot. Then you get to more the Middle Ages, where you have to face on some of the more dangers of life.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, of course, like Shuri said, the winter years, where your movement is impeded down by age, disease, or whatnot, until finally the sweet, sweet embrace of death makes you fast and nimble once again, until you become a shooting star. Essentially, Deads, the mission of our protagonist was to die.
Not just that, like, the trophy you win for beating the game the first time is called Rebirth, so of course there's also the theme of reincarnation implied.
But yeah, essentially, Deads, the mission was to die, live a life fully, and die.
Yes. There you go, Dej. That's basically what... Oh, yes? Go ahead.
You know what? I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to sour the mood.
Well, don't get me wrong. It is kind of a downer when you think about it, but look on the bright side. New life can be born from it.
You live the happy...
You become a shooting star.
As long as long as you live the meaningful life, there's nothing embarrassing about, it eventually ending, because that's just the natural order of things. So that was Journey. So Dej, what do you think?
That was a game.
That was indeed a game. Very good.
It is a lot to take in, ain't it?
Yes, it's pretty pretend. That's not pretentious. I understand what it's being about. I can understand why it got the praise it did when it came out, and I don't want to say it's something that people stop talking about, but it is something that you can see that its influence has inspired. Especially if you look at Nintendo Indie Direct and you see a lot of games who do those type of games where you're just walking aimlessly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I guess that's the lesson, and it's something to think about and talk about with your book club over tea and cheesecake.
Nice.
Pretty much.
Next.
Go ahead, Theo, since you weren't here the last time.
Again, it's more the experience than anything. This is unfortunately not really the product that I would have spent personally money on, so I'm actually glad that it was included in the Play at Home initiative. But if you're looking for something just to, see the experience and everything, this is pretty much harmless because, it was advertised to be like this from the get-go. They were not, bothering to advertise an actual game. If I recall correctly, one particular meme that circulated was fake ads of Bees Reimagine as a battle royale first-person shooter or something. I forgot. But it's good to look. It's good to listen. It's also function as a good tech demo, and it manages to entice a player for at least the initial playthrough. The replayability value, like we mentioned, comes only in factor only if you care enough about the more game-esque aspects, like collecting stuff. But they say they are worth your time, just for those casual quick plays that you can pull off. So there is that. Next.
Go ahead, Hero.
Right. This is a lovely game. I've never played it myself, as I mentioned earlier on, but if like Jova said, if it was gifted to me as well, I'd play it probably more than once, because sometimes it's nice to play a game where you can just this is a chill experience as much as it is for the experience that the devs intended it to be. It has beautiful music. It looks great. It's just lovely, and it's a nice one to talk about, especially because the interpretation side of things. Because the core story is seemingly pretty obvious, but the rest of the stuff kind of leaves quite a bit to the imagination. So, I like having discussions about this kind of thing. So this is overall a lovely experience, and that's it.
There's also the very quickly. That's what you just mentioned, Shirley, about playing it from time to time. It's something that the developers actually do encourage, because one particular trophy asks you to don't play the game for like 1 week, and then at least for 1 week, and then start a new playthrough after that. So there is something to what you just said. But go on, Jova.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this game. I haven't played it, but honestly, it is a nice design set piece that you can watch, and I still feel get the overall experience yourself. Like, maybe not the ultra super duper experience that you can only get by holding a control in your hands and feeling the helplessness of your character during the winter area, but honestly, I feel like you can experience it just as much, especially with the message it is. There's a lot you can speculate on how it represents it, but at the end of the day, it is pretty much stated in stone that this is essentially life's journey. The typical life's journey, assuming that you live a nice and fulfilling life, essentially. There is a lot of stuff that you do maybe want to know more about, like, man, what the hell was up with the war and society going on here? And based off of how that transition went, were those stone beings actually just corrupted carpet dragons? Because, well, they go through the portal and then bam, out come carpet dragons, so... yeah. It's weird. But overall, it's a simple enough game that pretty much anyone can pick up and play, honestly. Which definitely helps to garnering more of an audience here and there. And again, it does as much as it can with as little as it has, in quite an expert way, and I appreciate it for that. it's one of those stuff. It's a case where it falls off the vagueness sublimely, where it is arguably used more as a strength than just as a writer's tool to try and act like it's smart. So yeah, I enjoyed it back then, and I still enjoy it now.
All right, as for me, no, it's a absolutely lovely game indeed. Like Shira said, the music is absolutely beautiful, the visuals are gorgeous, and the game does a great job in showing its simple themes with some very effectively, thanks to its fantastic presentation and gameplay that, while simple, is still effective in demonstrating exactly what the message is. So yeah, it works really well. There's a reason why it was so influential, because a lot of copycats came about, like Jova said, but this game still stands tall as the one that did it best, at least to me. So, and that was Journey. Okay, we all hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you for maybe one of these days. I'll do Flower, the game that they did before this one. Why not?
Or maybe I'll do Abzu too, since that was given for free this year as well. Who knows?
We'll see.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah.